What's up, everybody? Welcome to the PixelPlay Sidequest as we get closer and closer here to finishing our set of generational remake videos. We are on the Nintendo Wii as I am here, CS Radical, with Jin and Chris. This is the third last one to go.
Crazy.
And oddly enough, and you can tell me how it was for you, this was a lot harder than I was expecting it to be.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. This one actually was so much harder than I was expecting.
I thought like these last three would be simple. And as soon as I started remembering the list, my brain immediately clued into, oh, right, we're at the era of Nintendo where they stop having third-party games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, this is going to be way harder than I thought.
Yeah. And Nintendo kind of already re-releases so many of their games.
Well, right away, Skyward Sword's gone.
Yeah. That would have been one I chose, but it's already taken.
So that kind of screwed it a little bit here. But I'm not gonna fret because, well, Punch-Out's still on the list. So yeah, we're leading off with that because I don't even care if it's like, well, they don't need to remake Punch-Out. Well, this is the only thing I can suggest because I got to put something into the ether because Nintendo apparently thinks it's not worth making anymore.
I don't understand what happened. Like, why?
Especially
did they
now with the
stop?
Switch Joy-Cons, like that's perfect for even that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is on my list as well. It was like, this needs to come back in general. Like, it was, there was an NES one, there was an SNES one, and then they brought it back for the Wii, and it was a big deal. It was huge, and then gone. Like, we just never heard from them again with this.
Hot take, aside from Mario, this is my favorite franchise that Nintendo has.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hot take, but I can see why. Like, this is actually a fantastic franchise. Like, it is a lot of fun. It's hard, but it's about like memorizing patterns and then
It's
like
more the charm of it.
kill.
Like, especially with the last one that they did on Wii, like it's one of the most charming games that I've seen in quite some time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Such a good, fun game, and it needs to come back. They need to make a new one. They need to remake this one. They need to do something. Like,
and
something.
like again, like a game that's all about timing and stuff. Now that you got a system that can run things a lot stronger, you can certainly make it look a lot nicer. Like, you can really cartoon the fuck out of this and make it look like the most cartoonish thing possible, and have it running at 60 frames, if not even higher than that, and just go mad with it and have so much with it. I just want to pound the fuck out of Glass Joe some more. That's like, really, that's all I actually want, because it's not like I'm gonna get to the end because I'm dog shit still. But like, I just want to beat that motherfucker into submission.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't have enough losses. He needs to get into the triple digits. 'Cause I think his official record was like, let me see, wasn't it like 80, like 1-80 or something?
Something along those lines. It was a big number like that.
1 win, 99 losses. That's right. We need to get it to triple digits.
So close.
There's some work that needs to be done here. Also, thanks YouTube for just deciding to go black screen for a second there. Oh well.
Oh well. It's fine. Podcasts are podcasting.
It's what I get for looking things up at the same time, apparently.
Yeah. Great pick, though. Great pick. All honestly on my list as well. So it's good I have backups. Because I can already tell there'll be overlap.
Oh, I think we're going to be seeing some overlap for sure, yeah.
Yeah. Well, for my first one, I'm going to go right out of the gate with one I actually think does need an actual remake. That's Metroid Other M. That was...
Remake for a different reason?
Remake because it needs to be redone completely. Like, the idea of it was great. It was a Metroid game, obviously. Not first person, but also not 2D, just side scrolling. Like, it was a mix. It had a lot of story. It had cutscenes, like stuff that didn't really exist much in the Metroid games at all. Metroid Prime had a little bit of cutscenes, obviously, as we know. But this had like full voice acted, just crazy great cutscenes. Very story focused. And then the 3D, but like third person perspective was like, I think this is the only Metroid game that has really been in this perspective, because you've got the first person shooter type of Metroid with Prime. And then you also got all the 2D Metroidvania Metroids, obviously. This one just, I really enjoyed the story part of it, or some of the story part of it, and what they were trying to do. There was just a lot of like weird choices, maybe limitations, and certain things. I feel like take the concept and just like redo it, like erase this from canon, make it again, make it modern. Use the power that you've got now on a Switch 2 and all that kind of good stuff, and just kind of like make it better. Like just take what you were going for and like nail it this time, kind of idea.
Mm.
Because again, it is a Metroid game that they haven't attempted since. They never had attempted before that. And I thought it was a cool idea, like this, not 3D platformer, but like third person Metroid 3D game. And I really want them to give it another shot. Like we've got already the other two types of Metroids, and it never feels like enough. I'm a big Metroid guy. I really, really like Metroid. So having a third version or a third type of Metroid, so you'd have three different ones kind of releasing over the years, I think would fill many, many, many gaps in the Metroid kind of universe, and kind of give a third perspective and bring in maybe some different players and stuff. But again, yeah, like they attempted this, didn't nail it. It was definitely like a 6 out of 10 kind of game. But I think if they remake it and kind of just take what didn't work, get rid of it, and redo it, remake it from the ground up, I think they could make a decent game there. I really, really do think so.
Yeah, that checks out. It's one that I've never played. Mind you, Metroid's still one of those series that I'm kind of like in the dark on for the most part. So, but I think a big thing that I would love to see, like one that really has a much more in-depth storyline with it. I think that's what initially got my attention with that game when it first got announced, but obviously the reviews basically pushed me as far away from it as possible. But yeah, I think I'd like to see another crack at that. I don't know if I want that to, because it was Ninja Theory, right?
I think so.
Like, I think I'd rather Nintendo just do it in-house. I don't think I'd want them to send it out to somebody else, or whether, like, maybe they ask Platinum, because obviously with Bayonetta and such, like, I don't know. I think I'd rather them just keep it to themselves with their... I say as keep it to themselves as we know there's probably nameless teams that we just don't know about that they've been contracting forever on these, but...
Yeah, and it was Team Ninja. I did look up. It was Team Ninja who had worked on it. So, yeah, definitely in-house would be a better approach.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I think I'd like to see another crack at, just more in the sense of curiosity for me, whereas obviously with you, there's more of a sense of like wanting to get a better look at it.
Yeah, because it's like the one bad Metroid game. Every other Metroid game is like praised as like, oh, that's a great game. That's a great game. That's a great game. That's a great game. And it's like there's this one that's not good, and that doesn't sit well.
It's almost like an imperfection that needs to be rewritten.
It needs to be fixed. We can't have one that's bad. Doesn't make sense.
Well, my second pick is another curiosity because I never did play it, but I've heard a lot of great things about it, and that's Sin and Punishment Star Successor. That is a mouthful. Sin and Punishment Star Successor. Sin and Punishment Star Successor. Sin and Punishment Star Successor. Close enough.
Yeah, this is a series that I always wanted to get into because there was like the N64 game and stuff.
Didn't it start on N64? Yeah.
Yeah, there was a Sin and Punishment game on there. It was like known as being like almost too big for the system. Like it was a massive game, and it was pretty cool. I never got to play it. It was on the Switch Online service, and I played it a little bit, but
I look at this footage of Star Successor, and I go, how do you not like this? Would be a great Switch game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this looks like a lot of fun, and it's kind of like
this would be a great game to take on the go.
Yeah. I am 100% agreeing with this.
I'm also biased because I do love rail shooters. It's just I'm never going to stop loving rail shooters.
Yeah, me too. And the thing is like, if you take obviously this would probably be a Nintendo game, like on the modern consoles, but if you put this on something like the Switch 2, like this is a perfect pick up and just play game, even like on the go, right? Like this isn't overly complicated. It's like, oh, you got to stop, take notes, and do all this and do all that. It's just an on-the-rail shooter, so you can play for a while. Even if you only play 20 minutes, you can just suspend it and come back. Like, it's not much thinking required in the sense of like, oh, shoot, like, yeah, I don't remember where that puzzle was, and I got to go grab the key, and, like a Legend of Zelda game or something, where here, Like, yeah, just stop what you're doing. When you come back, you know you're going to unpause and keep shooting at the stuff in front of you, right?
Yep.
It's like the perfect on the go game. And especially with this type of game, you actually benefit from much higher frame rates. They could make it where it was like 1080p and 120 FPS on the Switch too. That would be solid for this kind of game because it's so fast paced. Those extra frames would be amazing. And now you can actually do that on a Switch console. Um, yeah, like I think that this is a perfect example of something that needs to a remake and just in general, like the series to come back.
Yeah, I think this, like, I obviously Punch Out is the one that I want the most, but like I think this is actually the more slam dunk of all of everything, just
100%.
because it's so perfectly designed for this console to begin with.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, and you could even do it where you can have the old motion controls, or they can have like new button only and joystick controls, depending on which play style you want to do, just like they did with Skyward Sword, where they kind of
And
took
again,
the
another
motion
game that can
controls
make well good use of the new mouse features they have.
and new mouse features. Holy crap. Now this might be my number one game I want. Like, you're just like realizing how well this would fit on the new console. Holy crap. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, too,
Yeah.
it's
So
like it does have like some bit of a story to it, so you can definitely have some fun with that. Like I think there's a lot of untapped potential for it. Now I know obviously it's a game that probably most people haven't heard of. I certainly like vaguely remembered it, but it's one of those things that, you know, if Nintendo really wants something to get a little bit more popular, they can make that happen.
yeah. Yeah. Completely. Completely. I love that idea. I actually really would like that to come back. A rail shooter would be, I would love to play one just like tonight, to be honest. You've just sold me on wanting to play something like that, like immediately after we podcast.
But what you got next in the meantime?
So my next one is actually one I'm very curious about. It's kind of like what you just mentioned, how yours you hadn't actually played, but very curious. Mine is The Last Story. That is one of the first games that was made after, gosh, I'll butcher his name. The creator of Final Fantasy. Gosh, how would I say?
Was it Masayoshi Saito, I think?
Hitanobuo Sakaguchi.
Sakaguchi, right.
Yeah. So like
There's
the
there's so many games that
creator.
get tossed and all these that they just kind of all blend together now.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, he's, creator of Final Fantasy with Square up until like 2003 or whatever it was. When then he like famously like moved on. He made his own studio, something called like Mist Studios or something like that. And he made the Last Story. Now, I never picked it up on Wii. I had a Wii, obviously. For some reason, never grabbed it. I don't know what it was. I think it was one of those ones I was keeping my eye on for it to like go on sale, and probably got distracted by having too many games as it was. And I became a lot more of like a PS3 player at the time, like gamer. Like, I moved a little bit away from the Nintendo and such, and PS3 had like really good JRPGs hitting at the time. This was also much more of an action RPG compared to like turn-based. Obviously, this is when that kind of started to change. But I was always curious to try it and to play it. And yeah, never really got around to it. I've seen a lot of footage. It looks good. I've heard people say that they've liked it. But also
It's
like
one of those that it seems like it's all right. Like most of the reviews that I've ever seen for it, most of the opinions that I've seen of it have been like it was at the time probably for a Wii JRPG as well. You know, it was pretty decent for its time, but like something that I don't think is on many people's lists.
Exactly. And that's actually the point I was going to make. It was, I believe, a Wii exclusive. I couldn't see it released anywhere else other than the Wii.
So, yeah.
And that probably, and let's be honest, held it back. Because if you take other JRPGs, there was a reason they were releasing on PS3 the most. Maybe a few on Xbox. Xbox not as much, just because obviously, Japan did not release anywhere near as many of their games on the Xbox, the Western console, right? But the Wii was just kind of weaker in power, could definitely not do what a PS3 and all that kind of stuff could do. So there was very few JRPGs that released there. It doesn't look like overly Final Fantasy or anything like that. Obviously, they couldn't make it obviously like that much, but you can definitely see some of the Final Fantasy-ness in it, and you can kind of definitely see where his influence was in directing this game. So I think that if they kind of just remade this, they could take what limitations they would have had and some of the stuff that maybe doesn't work, especially today by today's standards and stuff like that, and really bring it back and create like, a game that reminds people like, hey, the original guy who made Final Fantasy, which is still a huge name, made this game a while ago and it never became as popular. But, here's your chance to play it. Like, re-release it. There's no way to really play this now outside of emulation and such, I believe. So why not, right? Like, bring it back, remake it, fix what didn't work, make it a little bit more for today's standards. Maybe do a bit more with the music and a little bit more with the graphics, because it still looks good from what I'm seeing, minus like obviously due to the limitations of the system, the color palette is kind of bland and like all that
like,
kind of stuff.
I can't help but think this is just an action RPG that's literally got the Final Fantasy 12 like look to it. It's kind of throwing me off, actually.
It's very Final Fantasy 12 like, which is weird because he left before 12 was out, and somehow Final Fantasy 12 and this look quite similar. So yeah, really, really interesting there too. But yeah, like I really think that just bringing this back, it would give everybody a chance to play it, myself included, in a proper way. And they could obviously clean up, make it a little more colorful, like clean up a little bit of the graphics, probably some of the quality of life stuff that would be needed. Yeah, maybe add a little bit more like turn-based kind of stuff in there, like make it a little less actiony, a little more JRPG-ish compared to action RPG. But yeah, I just think that this would be a great one to kind of bring back and give everybody another chance. Because I also don't imagine this sold overly well on the Wii, just because it's like not the JRPG or action RPG console outside of like Zelda action RPG wise, right? So
yeah, I very doubt that. I don't even think.
Yeah.
I mean, there obviously wouldn't really be data for a lot of that, but obviously with the fact that like not that many people even really know about it, kind of tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
All
right, what do you got? Our honorable mentions first, I guess, that you'd have.
So I didn't want to just take the easy out and go Super Mario Galaxy, but it is an honorable mention.
Yep.
Like that was kind of like the free space, but I didn't want to go that route.
Yep.
I also had another JRPG that was not very well talked about, Arc Rise Fantasia.
Mm-hmm.
And then No More Heroes was also one that stood out for me as well.
Yep.
But I'm going to go way off the board here on my number 3 pick, just because I think for the Switch especially, this would be a very good game for it. And I think that in addition to that, like this is also something, because we've done a lot of games that have been kind of for us. I do like this game when I did play it on Wii, but I also think that like we've done so many that are meant for more of an adult audience, where I think that this one is much more of a kid-friendly one, and that's Zack and Wiki Quest for Barbaros Treasure, I believe is the full name of it.
Oh, exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it's almost like Captain Toad in a way. Before Captain Toad.
Before Captain Toad, yeah.
It was like this, like side scroll sort of a treasure hunting game where there was like a few puzzles here and there, and it's a very cute, almost like I guess like, well, it's made by Capcom. The little monkey very much is reminding me of the Mega Man Legends monkey, but it has like kind of like a, like One Piece-y, like kids shown in anime sort of vibe to it, like a 4 kids anime video game kind of deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a kid's version of One Piece for sure. You can kind of see some of the inspirations.
It's very much like a lot of these kind of like, puzzle platformers that we see where, you're trying to find like, okay, maybe this item with this thing works really, really well. Maybe traversing this area gets me to where I want to go. And it's just kind of slowly figuring out what the best way to get to something is. And I really actually liked it. I don't think I finished this, but when I did play like a little bit of it, I did actually think it was a kind of nice idea, but it is also very much a kid's design game, so it probably didn't stick in that aspect. I think but this is something that would be like a nice addition to the library, and considering it probably wouldn't be that expensive a game to make, like inking out a deal with Capcom to make you another one of these wouldn't be too difficult, and you can really sell that easily for families that have the console.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that this looks actually like adorable. Like I would actually play this. I know it seems like it's more for kids and stuff, but the puzzle aspects and the colorful nature of it and stuff, and just all that kind of stuff, it actually looks like something to be enjoyable to play.
And obviously, like now with not needing to use a Wiimote for everything, the controls aren't going to be great because it was a point and click literal with the Wii, and we all know how effective the Wii mote was at times.
Not my favorite.
It was perfect. What are you talking about? Skyward Sword wasn't a terribly controllable game.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Because that's, I mean, we jokingly said, well, it's already not on the list because it was already kind of redone. We weren't going to suggest it, honestly.
No. I mean, I have Remake where they made the control. I think that going the way they did with it did make it a lot better with the actual like button controls. But I think it even just being remade from the ground up with like no motion controls at all would help.
Yeah, but at that point, you might as well just make a new Zelda, really. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. So for my honorable mentions, also Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, obviously. Just even just re-release them with like HD versions or something like that.
I mean, they kind of did, and then for like what, a whole like month?
The first one was on there, yeah. Yeah, what a dumb decision that is. Also, just to re-release Twilight Princess HD, they already did kind of remake Twilight Princess, not remake, but like remaster it. They put it on the Wii U, but it's not on the Switch, and it's like one of the actual Zelda games I'd love to just replay, but it's not there. So please just fix, Twilight Princess to get on the Switch. Another honorable mention for me is I mentioned during the 3DS one, like Street Pass and like all the extra features the consoles used to have. For me, like the weather, the news, all of that, those apps that came pre-installed on the Wii, I actually loved those. I loved actually opening up randomly the news app and seeing a little bit of information, opening up the weather app, being able to spin the world and check anywhere in the world and see what the weather was and what time it was. It's silly stuff. It's not like it's groundbreaking by any means, but like I guarantee it's like a great way to just teach kids certain things like about the weather and time zones and what the world looks like and all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, Nintendo used to throw in the odd little thing. And again, the Switch has like no extra apps outside the games itself for the most part. And I really think bringing back like that kind of stuff would be great. So that's why I threw that in as honorable mention. But for my third game, believe it or not, I'm going to go with I guess a remake, probably more of a sequel, let's be honest, but I guess it would be a remake as well, is Wii Fit. I know that there's Ring Fit Adventure, and I know that we have that, and you and I both have used it. It kicks your ass. It is great. But there is something about Wii Fit where it literally was like going into a yoga studio or going into like
it's
a
almost like
the
mood is more the interest.
Yeah, the mood, it wasn't obviously it wasn't gamified. It was more like, here's a Wii balance board. How's your posture? Do push-ups. Can you balance? Can you do this yoga move? And it was about signing in daily and just kind of doing some of the stuff. That was like pure Nintendo innovation at the time. Like no other console was like, oh, we need to get like a balance board and people do yoga on their game console. Nobody else was thinking that at the time. I loved this thing. I did it daily for a couple years back in the late 2000s. I don't think it was out.
I think I was using it like the first year-ish of its life cycle, and then I got bored of it.
Yeah. Like I eventually did get bored of it. But I mean, that was just me in my mid-20s. Like that's just going to happen. And I'm okay. Honestly, it would happen now too. But I think it would be just a great thing. Like bring back Wii Fit. You'd probably need a peripheral that would be bundled with it. It would probably have to be. I can't see how it wouldn't unless it was just using the Joy-Con strapped to both your legs or something, kind of like what Ring Fit Adventure kind of did. But yeah, like I think just like again, it's like a yoga studio or a gym class setting. They could obviously up it. It was always just you and the Wii Fit trainer before. I think having it kind of like there's Peloton and all those other companies now that when you ride the bike,
Samus in yoga clothing, kind of directing you how to do stuff.
That would be sick, first of all. That would be amazing. But I think they could even have it where there's like other people, other NPCs in the gym, so you don't feel like you're alone. A lot of companies now, like there's Peloton and stuff like that, where you do your workouts on a treadmill or a bike. And yes, there's a person like on the screen there that's like your instructor and walking you through it. But there's a lot of people that are actually there in the classes live, and it makes you kind of feel like you've gone to a public place and you're working out with other people. And I really think that this could kind of give that vibe as well. Like you could have it where you've got your instructor. Yes, they could do so much more with it. You could have the Wii Fit trainers come back from the original one. Then you could have Samus and all this other stuff, right? I think a lot of them would work. And you could also have NPCs, and maybe the NPCs are other Nintendo characters or other IP characters, or maybe they're just regular normal people, or maybe they're me's, or I have no idea. There's so much you could kind of do with this, but I think that bringing this back with just the focus being on like daily working out and not necessarily the Ring Fit adventure, like fight a dragon and everything like that. Like I think both could exist, and if one could be for one audience, one for be another audience. Maybe you actually do both each day. Who knows? But I don't know. I really thought that this was a great game, and it was fun to do. It was soothing, the music and everything that was kind of in it. It taught me about yoga, which I would never usually do. And yeah, I just think that they kind of need a new one. Like it would be really, really cool. They could sync it with like smartwatches now. I don't know. Like there's so much stuff they could do. I doubt Nintendo would kind of do that stuff, but still, I think they could do so much with it. And I'd actually love if they brought it back.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. I mean, obviously, I'm the guy who bought a Switch literally just to play Ring Fit, so.
Yeah, which is a great game.
Now, I'm not going to spend $800 now for an exercise thing. At that point, I might as well just get a proper machine or just go to a gym at that point, but, you know.
Yeah, the gym I go to is like $13 a month. You can get like a lifetime subscription for that instead of just the
yeah,
cost
might be
of
able
the
to
Switch.
make something work out that way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
But
good picks though.
That's gonna do it. We got two more left. We got the 360 and we got the PS3, and then it's all over. We're almost there. Every time I say that, every time we're getting closer and closer. But it's like, you know what?
It's actually closer.
I'm on it. I'm gonna go pull up the channel, and I'm gonna go see when we started this, because that's the curiosity now. We haven't done this yet. Like when was the day that we first did these?
Gosh, I don't even know if it was this year or like the end of last year.
I think it would have had to have been last year at this rate. Like there's just
so.
Well, no, that's not actually true. That might not be the case. It all feels like the same, right? Like everything just kind of comes off being
one big show.
Yeah, it just kind of blends together. So let's say Sidequests. When was the first one?
I'm assuming it would have been NES that we started with.
No, it's definitely this year. Yeah, it was 4 months ago. Wow, it really only is that long ago. So it would have been like, what,
That's
February?
It? That feels like so much longer. But this has been our 2025 project then. That's what this has been.
It all is just kind of blended together at this point. And I mean, we'll probably be saying this whenever we start whatever our next series is going to be, and we'll be like, man, feels like we've been doing this for like 2 years now. And we'll be like, no, we just started this at the end, like midsummer.
Dude, this is our second episode. It's since last week.
Well, that's going to do for this one. You guys know the drill. Like and subscribe. You got the link tree there at the bottom of your screen, which has the link to our Discord. We are always happy to chat with you guys there. And any games that we missed, obviously, let us know in the comments below. What did we miss, and what do you think also deserves a remake from the Wii library? So wherever you may be, take care. Bye-bye for now.